we're going to start out, as usual, with the pledge. We're going to do a little differently today. We have two very special gentlemen who are going to lead us. This is going to be Mike Hoffman from the Army, and you can tell he's from the Army because look at his shirt. And Meyer Crawl from the Naval Academy.
Test.
West Point, right? So they are going to lead us in the pledge, and I want to say a couple things. We want to collectively tell them thank you for your service to our country. And let's. So I'm going to get out of the way. Let these guys do their thing. So, thank you, guys. I didn't mention that, but if you're able to stand and if you can remove your hats, we would appreciate that. So, thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And so now, as usual, we're going to have our esteemed Miss Carol, our chaplain, Miss Carol Pope. She's going to come up and offer the, as we like to say in the South, the blessing for our meal. So.
Well, good morning. So good to see you. What a special day this is for us. Today I'm going to specifically focus on heroes and how we can all be heroes. So let us pray. Dear God, on this day of celebrating heroism and tradition, we come to you humbly with gratitude and appreciation for all the heroes in our lives, and especially for the Pickett family and all that family has given. We are in gratitude every day for seeing each other on the Wednesdays. We can look at each other and smile and bring heroism to others. Let us remember that these are people who have set great standards for us. Let us continue to offer our services in whatever way we can to bring heroism to the lives of those that we encounter and to keep in mind the great traditions of this season. We are so grateful today for the food prepared from David and his team. Such delicious fare. We are also grateful for the leadership of this club who have brought us this program, and specifically our member, Mr. Hanahan, who has put this all together for us. We're very excited and pleased. We're also grateful this time of year for those who make our lives easier and for those who provide the steam to move us forward. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carol. It certainly would not be the same without her and her very eloquent blessing. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's a true gathering of heroes today. It really is. I've never seen anything quite like this. So real briefly, I have a couple of quick club announcements. One is next week we'll be voting on the approval or not of the amended bylaws. We have created a special link on the website for you to go look at to compare. That went out in an email, I believe, Monday night. So check your email, and you can find it there. If you are a true Luddite, like we have plenty of those in the room, including me, right back there in the back, we have what we call hard copies that you can grab one of each, and you can look at it in your leisure. And so, number two, today is our second day of Secret Santa contributions, and Jerry has been rattling the jar up there. The Secret Santa contributions is for our the Forks and their staff. We split it between them and Tom Lamb and his assistant Tong Tang. You've seen him in here. He's the young man who sets the room up and cleans it up for us. So that's what that's all about. So if you can spare a contribution to the Secret Santa, please do. Number three, inclement weather policy, which would have been in effect yesterday, but not today. If you ever want to know if we're having the sports club meeting or not, all you have to do is find out what Wake County Schools is doing. And if they're out, we're out. If they're on delay, we're not on delay. We're meeting as usual. So, very simple. So, okay, now back to the program. This is a great program today. I want to thank Tom Shanahan, too, for putting this together. This is a great idea. I don't know if you guys realize it or not. Saturday is the 126th meeting of Army-Navy. Now, we talk about sports rivalries. We're right here in the hotbed of a lot of that. Duke, Carolina, Duke State, Carolina State, Yankees, Red Sox, Ohio State, Michigan. Those are all great rivalries. And before those guys even thought about it, Army-Navy had already had a big rivalry, intense rivalry going. So it's going to be a great little program with Tom moderating between Meyer and Mike. So we appreciate all them coming. Also, very special event. We're going to have a special proclamation to a true hero who is here today. One of two heroes. We unfortunately will not be able to meet Larry Pickett Jr. He is practicing for the Army-Navy game. He's the young man who assisted his dad in rescuing and saving a man's life this year. And we're going to have a special proclamation for him today. And we appreciate your entire family, a great representation. Let's let them know how much we're glad to have them here today. Thank you so much for coming and supporting. Is Corey Branch here? Is he here? Okay. Well, he may still be on the way. All right. Now to our student athlete, we've also got a very fine young man we're going to honor today as our student athlete. We'll get ahead with that right now. Trey LaLore. He is a multi-talented athlete and great student from Millbrook High School, and he is here with his family. And as John Watkins approaches the stage with Trey and his coach, Ms. Fritz, let's show him how much we appreciate him being here. Come on, John. You ready?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce you to our Student Athlete of the Week, Trey LaLore from Millbrook High School. Joining him today are his parents, Catherine and Carl, and his grandparents, Janice and Kevin. Joining us on the stage is his track coach, Megan Fritz. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Megan and have her say a few words about Trey.
Thank you. Thank you for having us and for this opportunity. I've taught Trey for the past 2 years in high school English. I had him in AP Language and Composition last year, and then now in Honors Senior English this year. And then I also had the pleasure of coaching him last year in track for the first time. Trey took a risk to just start joining the track team his junior year and was a standout runner. And so we're really happy to have him back this year as well. I've also had the honor, Trey chose me to write his college recommendation letters and help him with his college essays, and I could stand up here all day and just go over his amazing resume, but we don't have enough time, so I'm just going to hit on some of the highlights. The reason that I chose Trey for this, is, along with his track coaches and his soccer coaches, is because he's honestly one of the most respectful and thoughtful students I've ever had the pleasure of teaching and coaching. He's one of those young men that it's rare, but he'll walk into my classroom and just say, "Hey, Miss Fritz, how are you doing today?" And a lot of kids just come in and just sit down and they're like, I don't really want to be here. But Trey is actually he's actually happy to be there and excited to learn and ask good questions, and he's really inquisitive, and he's just really intentional. So the other thing about Trey that I love is that he has a really strong sense of responsibility that I feel like is wise beyond his years. I found out this morning, I didn't even know Trey is such a young student for his class. He's only 16 at the moment, and he's a senior. And I could not believe it because he's so mature. His sense of responsibility is to his teammates, to his family, and all of his college essays he's writing about you guys, and also his future in biomedical engineering. He's had a lot of STEM service at the hospital. He got to see a knee replacement? Yeah, and I can't believe what he's done as someone who's only 16. And the other thing I really like to highlight is his leadership. That's the big reason why I chose him to come up here today. He leads in the classroom by helping others, and if I have a class of 30, that's so helpful. Because Trey will just say, hey, she wants you to do this. Did you think about doing this? And I'm just like, gosh, I just wish I had 30 of him in the room. He also leads in soccer and in track. That's a real reason we're here, is the sports piece, with him being a student athlete. And so as far as his commitment to that, he was a team captain for the Wake Football Club. He was also last year, he was a junior captain his junior year for our Millbrook varsity soccer team. And this year he was all conference and all regions. And in track and field, you just can't ask for anything more. He pushes himself beyond the limit. Even when his hamstring's hurting, he's out there and he's like, no, I can do one more. I'm like, okay, come here. Let's take a break for a second. And lastly, I want to talk about the Scouts. He's an Eagle Scout. His STEM service, his project was STEM related with that, creating benches for outdoor learning at Brassfield Elementary School. And he's also was a patrol leader this past year. And I know that's a big connection to his family with his dad working in the Scouts. So anyway, some final notes. He leads with compassion and purpose. He's a once-in-a-lifetime student. And I know he has a very, very bright future in biomedical engineering. So congrats to Trey. You're very deserving.
Well, she didn't leave much to cover. He does have a 4.583 GPA. He would like to go to either Georgia Tech, UNC, or NC State, with his lead school being Georgia Tech. He's a member of the National Achievers Society, DECA, Key Club, Black Student Union. He's an AP scholar with distinction, straight A honor roll every year, junior marshal. He ran a sickle cell anemia booth for his charitable work, as well as tutoring and babysitting. And at this time, it is my pleasure to announce or to present Trey with the Raleigh Sports Club Student Athlete of the Week, presented to Trey Leroy, Millbrook High School, for outstanding performance in the classroom, as well as soccer, indoor and outdoor track, and lacrosse, December 10th, 2025.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having me here, and I'd like to thank Coach Fish for nominating me, and my parents for always being there with me throughout everything that I do. But I like to say the biggest thing that I've learned through sports and academics is just to be curious. And being curious can be in all types of forms. Like in the classroom, it's obviously asking questions when you don't understand something, or even if you just want to learn more, where asking questions has helped me learn more than anything that I could learn just from listening to a teacher, where it let me learn that I really love biology, and that's what made me want to major in biomedical engineering. asking my teacher more about like how cells work, I dove more into it, and I learned that like with my mom having sickle cell, I learned more about sickle cell, and that's what caused me to run the booth of sickle cell awareness. And so I think it's just important to be curious with everything that you do. It shows that you actually care, and I think compassion is a very big thing, because showing that you actually care is the biggest thing that someone can really notice, because when you show that you care, it goes a long way. And so I just like to tell everybody that just be curious.
Thank you, Trey, and I invite everyone to come up and see Trey and his family and Coach after the meeting and wish him well. At this time, I'll turn it over to Bill Whitley for our pick sheets.
Hello, everyone. Again, we have a great participation on our pick sheet. We had over 60% to participate, and I'm delighted. I know I asked Rob this earlier, as he was a secretary last year, and I said, well, how many perfect scores do you have? He said, none. Well, as y'all remember, a couple of weeks ago, I had the first one, which was 13. Well, today, we have another person that got all 13 correct. So I said, I thought it was hard, but obviously it was not. So, Tom Lansell, where are you? 13 correct. And the next person that was the winner with 12 correct was my dear friend that he's let me chide him a lot, is Dick Roddy, but he's not here. So for all you guys that know Dick Roddy, please tell him that he was the next winner. Also, we'll move right down, and I know this person's here because he won last week. Kurt Dunbar, you're the winner. And before we get to the real crying towel, I want to tell you quickly, we had one player obviously with 13 correct, 6 players with 12 correct, 13 with 11 correct, 15 with 10 correct, 11 with 9 correct, 4 with 8 correct, 2 with 7, 1 with 6, 1 with 5, and 1 with 3. So, just a word or two about this coming week's pick sheet. We obviously had a great intro into our game, recognizing our honoree today, but we have only one football game, and that's Navy and Army. So the rest of the pick sheet, as you can see, is the first 6 is the men's basketball game and 6 of the women's basketball game. So I expect you women to really stand up and wear it out. But we come to that infamous crying towel. And I know we got a lot of frowns and all that, but we're going to try to get it done. Dick? Hedro? You're the guy. Thank you for participating. And also, NC State has a basketball game tonight with Liberty, so we have someone donating 2 tickets So if you see me after the program today, I'll sign you up. So thank you all very much. Please participate. And we will have our esteemed program chairman to come in and start us off on our program. Sally she gets a great program all the time, so come up.
Good afternoon. Quickly, I want to do this. Next week, Jeff Gravely will be our speaker. That concludes our 2025 portion of Raleigh Sports Club. The 2026 portion of our club year, those scheduled programs, I understand, have been posted on the website. We have several we're still working on, but for the most part, the 2026 programs are set. The first thing we're going to do is show a video from ESPN talking about the rescue by Larry Pickett Jr. and his father, Larry Pickett Sr. And then I'm going to introduce, after that concludes, Corey Branch from the Raleigh City Council on behalf of Mayor Janet Cowell, who signed the proclamation, who will present the actual proclamation to the Pickett family. So far as the Pickett family over here, Shannon is the mother. Larry Sr. is across from her, and then the Larry Jr.'s sisters, Olivia and Lauren, and I believe some of the grandparents are here as well as other family members and friends. So it's great to have all of you with us this afternoon as we celebrate what happened back on your part and what happened back at the end of August. Okay? So are we ready for the video? All right, let me get out of the way. It's my pleasure to introduce Raleigh City Councilman Corey Branch, who represents District C and was first elected to the Raleigh City Council in 2015. He has also served as Mayor Pro Tem from 2017 to 2021 and again in 2023. He is a Raleigh native and a graduate of North Carolina A&T State University with an electrical engineering degree. So if Mr. and Mrs. Pickett, Olivia and Lauren would come on up to the stage, Councilman Branch will read the proclamation and present it to you.
Good afternoon. It's after 12, so I can say that, I guess, now. As the family comes up, it's interesting how you're in front of the camera this time. Normally you're always behind. Little small story that's not in the history. Larry and I grew up together here in Wake County Public Schools and everything. So I'm honored to present this to you, to your family, to your son, his absence. Let's go Army. I got to find me a number 22 jersey. So if y'all find an extra large somewhere, I would probably wear it. But here's a proclamation on behalf of our mayor. Whereas the city of Raleigh proudly recognizes residents whose courage, service, and humanity uplift our community and inspire others. Whereas Raleigh native Larry Pickett Sr. demonstrated extraordinary courage on August 30th, 2025, when he and his son, Army West Point football player and proud Enloe High School graduate, Larry Pickett Jr. rushed towards danger to save the life of a man trapped in a vehicle that had crashed into a utility pole and was moments away from bursting into flames. Whereas while others urged caution and stood back from the sparks flying beneath the vehicle, Larry Pickett Sr. ran directly into harm's way, prioritizing another person's life above his own safety, and in doing so exemplified the highest ideal of courage, service, and responsibility to one's neighbor. And whereas the Pickett's heroic act quickly reached national audiences, shining a positive and powerful spotlight on the values held within Raleigh and across Wake County. And whereas the story of the historic rescue has gained national attention from CBS, NBC, ABC, ESPN, and other outlets, and has led widespread recognition of the Pickett's character, leadership, and humanity. Whereas Larry Pickett Sr. is also a leader within his profession and his community, operating a multimedia business right here in Raleigh and contributing in countless ways to the civic fabric of our city's alongside his family members, and who are all actively rooted in service and community building here in our hometown. And whereas on December 10th, 2025, the Raleigh Sports Club will honor Larry Pickett Sr. at its weekly meeting, where more than 100 members and guests are expected to gather as the club prepares for the 126th Army-Navy game and celebrate the values of sportsmanship, leadership, and character. Now, therefore, Janet Cowell, Mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim December 10th as Larry Pickett Day. Signed by our Mayor, Janet Cowell.
All right, thank you, Mr. Branch. Thank you for the Raleigh Sports Club, our family. Thank you for our extended family, our blood family, our church family. Thank you for everybody around the country and even around the world who reached out to us, the many messages we got, and just thanking us. But what I want to say is Larry Pickett Day is December 10th, 2025 now. But I want people to also think of the first responders on this day, because if an accident like that were to happen 10 minutes from now somewhere and they call 911, Larry Pickett is not responding. It's the first responders who do this every day all around the country and around the world who signed up for that, who signed up to wake up and not know what type of accident they may be helping somebody from on that day. So we're very grateful. I want to specifically thank Tom Shanahan, that is over here to my right, if you wave your hand. This doesn't happen without Tom. He reached out and he literally was like, okay, this is on ESPN, CBS, the nightly news, Inside Edition, and all over the world. Raleigh needs to recognize you guys. And I'm like, and if anybody knows my son, and I've told this story in a few interviews, he does not like the attention. He doesn't like media. He has a social media that he doesn't even post on. A quick story, when he was in high school, and as they mentioned in the proclamation, I have a production company, so I do a lot of videos. So, of course, I'm going to videotape my son scoring touchdowns and interceptions, right? And I would put together videos for him to post for the coaches to see for potential scholarship. And he wouldn't even post them. He doesn't like the attention. So I had to create, back then, a Twitter. Right now it's X, just so that way I can get it out there. So in terms of this attention, he doesn't like any of it. So on behalf of him, and behalf of our family, and one last thing, if you think that you've seen something amazing with Larry Pickett Jr., wait till you meet Olivia Pickett and Lauren Pickett. They're both at Millbrook High School as well, along with this gentleman. And I will tell you, I'm very impressed hearing your bio and everything you've got going on. Of course, we're going to root Inlow, but Millbrook's got some amazing things going on. Good night. I mean, everybody needs to shake that man's hand. And you got a bright future ahead of you. We're very proud of you. So, but when you meet Olivia and Lauren, you're going to see that there's a lot going on with the Pickett kids. So we're very, very grateful, very thankful. And finally, praise Jesus. Thank you, God, because we were right there amongst live power lines. And every expert that we've talked to about this said, and just so you all know, if you come across a situation like that, don't go close to it, is what they're saying. He probably would have been okay because of the, if it didn't engulf in flames, of course. Because the tires were grounded, apparently. I'm not an electrical expert, but the ground around it is what could have been charged. And so Jesus protected us because we were standing there and we touched the vehicle that is made of metal and aluminum and steel, right? So if you look at, I'm talking about many experts said that we should not have done that. So it's only God. That's only Jesus that protected us in that moment. And I just want to thank him more than anything else. It should be Jesus Day. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'm going to do a very brief introduction so we can go ahead and get Tom's Q&A started. Mike Halton, who's in the back, is a 2018 graduate of Army West Point. He's originally from Arlington Heights, Illinois, and played on the offensive line for the Black Knights. After receiving his BS degree in system design and management, he was commissioned as a field artillery officer, spending most of his time at either Fort Bragg or at Fort Sill in Oklahoma. Serving in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, he completed airborne school and ranger school. Once discharged from the Army in May of 2023, he participated in a Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship and interned with John Deere and Fuquay Varina. He currently works as a global enterprise account executive with Cisco selling cybersecurity. His first year after graduation, his first duty station was at West Point, where he coached the offensive line at the United States Military Army Preparatory School, helping the team to an undefeated season. Meyer Kroll II is from Durham and played football and ran track at Hillside High School. During his senior year, he led his team to the 4A state football championship, and he also served as a team captain. At the Naval Academy, he played on special teams as an outside linebacker. After graduating with a degree in English languages and literature, Meyer served in the United States Navy for 8 years. After being commissioned as an ensign, he worked on numerous ships, one based in Jacksonville, Florida. He also was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and Pascagoula, Mississippi, and as an anti-terrorism officer on the USS Whidbey. He deployed 3 times during his Navy service, including a tour in Guam, and at the time of his discharge, he had earned the rank of lieutenant. He is now a fatherhood advocate and a certified parent coach, where he encourages and educates dads on the role of fatherhood and conscious parenting. And we're delighted also to have his sister here today and his 7-year-old son. So welcome to you all. So I'm going to let Tom go
ahead. All right, you guys have a seat. I'll stand at the podium here. I don't need this. So we were talking a while ago about having an Army-Navy celebration, and it's great the way this came about.
and about, and I write stories for the News and Observer on top high school athletes. And the first one I wrote this year was about how the Enloe coach has been dedicated to rebuilding the program so the kids could have an experience like he had when he was at Enloe. And, well, who's better to get a quote from one of his former players than a kid from West Point, Larry Pickett Jr. So, and then 2 weeks later, I'm reading on ESPN about this event, and that's how this all came together. But I've known Meyer Craw for quite a few years, since his Navy playing days, and I wrote in the News and Observer about how he and his teammate Vad Lee, who played at Georgia Tech at James Madison, started a scholarship fund. And then thanks to the Army Alumni Office, we were able to find Mike Houghton, who lives in the area. He's from Illinois. So that's plenty. I just want to give that background. So I'm going to ask you both these guys. I know from writing about Army and Navy players that a lot of the kids, when they get recruited, some of them had the academies in mind because they were from military families, and some of them didn't know anything about academy football until they got recruited. And so I want both Mike and Meyer to talk about how they got recruited and what a strenuous and tough experience it is to get through the academies. Want to go first, Mike?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Getting recruited from the academy, I had no idea what West Point was until my junior, senior year of high school, where I started getting a little bit more attention from the Army football coaches. And I wasn't the biggest in high school, about 215 as a center and defensive lineman, so that's not the best weight for recruited Division I linemen. And so at the time, Army was focused on smaller offensive linemen, quicker, faster, so I was able to kind of sneak in that way late in the recruiting process my senior year. And when I was finally at the prep school, Coach Mumpkin came in and changed everything, and I actually was able to gain a few extra pounds there to get up to about 300. But the whole process of getting to the academy is strenuous. It's frustrating, and I was really fortunate for my parents to be supportive and really forcing me to make the right decision and understanding what the future would hold as being an Army cadet as well as a future Army officer.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? First of all, I want to say thank you for having me. It feels good to be back here in North Carolina. I'm living in Georgia right now. I just got out last year, so it just feels really, really good to be back here. When I first left, I went up to Providence, Rhode Island, actually Newport, Rhode Island, to the prep school. And if you've ever been up there, it's really, really cold, and they don't have sweet tea. So the sweet tea and the food is amazing. So thank you guys so much for that. But just a little bit about how my recruitment went. I didn't have any military in the family at all. Just kind of like Mike, I didn't really know anything about the Naval Academy or the Army. I assumed that when I watched the Army-Navy game, these were just guys who were in uniform who got a chance to go out for a weekend and play football. That was not the case at all. And I tried asking around to some of my classmates during that time. Some told me that they played football on the ship. Not true. Some told me that they were just really, really scared for me. I would be put out on the front line, and then I would come back and play football. Also not true. So I got a chance to ask all the different coaches and go on my official visit. And when I took that official visit and just seeing how honorable and how the different teammates and teammates I would have and the classmates that were there, as well as the coaches, how they held themselves to a higher standard. It was very much what I remember being in North Carolina, being from a family who really cares about what they do and why they do it. It just kind of made sense. And I also got a chance to go to school with one of my high school classmates. His name is Jamal Williams. He didn't get a chance to be here today. He's actually at UNC completing his MBA, and they have some school today, so he had to miss out on this. But going to class and going to school and playing football with one of my very, very good friends and getting a chance to represent North Carolina just made more and more sense every single time. So I was happy about my recruitment process, and I had a lot of fun while I was there.
Okay, and the one thing that I know from writing stories about the Army and Navy guys is, you know, they have a long day. They're up at like 7 a.m. and they're doing school, Army training, practice, a long, long day. And they say the easiest part of the day for them is football practice. So that's the kind of commitment it takes to go to the academies. One thing, we're all upset about all the changes in tradition in college football. Well, one thing that has not changed is there's only one football game this week, Army-Navy. We still celebrate that as the greatest rivalry in college sports. Every time Dick Vitale says on ESPN at the North Carolina Duke basketball game, this is the greatest rivalry in sports, I send him a Twitter post. I guess you've never been to the Army-Navy game. So it's really should be a bucket list for everybody because it's an experience unlike any other. If we could have both Mike and Meyer talk about not only the build-up on their team, but the entire campus. They're saying beat Navy, they're saying beat Army. You guys talk about the year-long process.
So when you're at the academy, the week leading up to the Army-Navy game, it's beat Navy week. So at any time that you can show your fandom towards Army and degrade Navy in a respectful manner, you can. And that's the goal. And there's Navy Academy students that attend Army and vice versa. And so they call them spear missions. We'll go out and we'll basically take everything out of their room and put it out on the front lawn or whatnot, and respectively bully the individual for the whole week. And it's all out of good fun and faith. But on the football side, it's about 3 weeks from your last game to where you play Navy. It's basically Navy camp, right? All we do is focus on how we can play Navy, how we can recover from the season before, and eventually get a W. And that's all that matters. That's all you're focused on. Schools put on the back burner that for those 3 weeks, and everyone's understanding of that. And it's a very fun time to be around, but also as a player, stressful because you need to be able to focus in on your technique and your position and the requirements that takes for you to be a confident player on the field so you can get a win.
Yeah, so it's exactly what he said. When Army-Navy week comes around, literally nothing else matters. And coming from North Carolina, being born and raised here, I thought I knew the biggest rivalry. You guys already know, especially if you're born here. By the time you hit 5th grade, really 3rd grade, you got to pick. Either you're going to be a Tar Heel fan, you're going to be a Duke Devil, or you're going to be part of the Wolves fan. It's really it's normally either UNC or Duke. Because I'm a Duke fan, I'm only saying that because of that. But I thought I came from the greatest rivalry already, and getting a chance to go to the Naval Academy and see how much they put into it. If you win 11 games straight, but then you lose to Army, the 11 games don't matter. They just simply don't matter. That is the game that matters the most. And there is some fun in it. As soon as the week starts, we try to steal each other's mascot. That's like one of the biggest things that we try to do. We'll go on a spirit mission, go all the way up to New York or wherever they might be hiding the mule at that point in time, and try to bring that bad boy back to Annapolis. I actually wrote a children's book about it just so my son, the 7-year-old over there, could understand how strong and how important that rivalry is. But it's also a chance to build some camaraderie with your classmates, and you get to pick on the captains and the commanders that's over there. One thing that we like to do is instead of standing to watch, we'll go fishing. Last time we found a stingray out in the Annapolis Harbor. We put it on our captain's desk when we got there that morning. It smelled something a little fishy. To figure out exactly what it was. But that changes every year, and it's very, very fun. But those 3 weeks that we get leading up to this game feels like war. Nothing else matters. Class doesn't really matter that much. It is wake up every morning and how can I beat the other guys on the other side? And then once you graduate, somehow you become friends. I'm not sure how that happens, but that guy right there, he's awesome. He's going to be a friend of mine till I die.
Yeah, that's the thing about this rivalry. Although it's so intense, these guys are on the same team afterward because they're both serving our country. And you can see that when Meyer and Mike first met. It wouldn't be that way with a Duke and a North Carolina or NC State player. Meyer was part of the 11-game winning streak. He's throughout your career, right? Meyer never lost to Army. Mike came along when they ended the losing streak. And the other thing about that, so I want both of you guys to talk about the feeling of winning the game. And you want to sing second. right? Yeah. The losing team has to go sings the alma mater first, and then so you want to sing second. But so I want you guys both to talk about the feeling and satisfaction of winning. But first, one of the reasons Army fell behind Navy and Air Force is Navy and Air Force kept up to date as far as developing Division I athletes and being able to compete at this level. The Army players, they had more commitments in the off season and training, and there were more weight limitations. For example, Mike's only 235 now, but he played at 305. So you're not going to put a 305-pound guy in a tank. So Mike was there at the transition, and then now Army has had its success against Navy. So, Mike, talk about that transition, and then both of you guys talk about the satisfaction of winning the game.
Yeah, so I was at the prep school when Coach Ellerson, Rich Ellerson, was there, and they had a large focus on maintaining military standards. So passing the Army physical fitness test, 2-mile run, push-ups, sit-ups. When Coach Monken came in, who's the current coach now, my freshman year, standards changed in terms of weight and physical constraints. So instead of running, everyone who was considered inside the box, so offensive linemen, defensive linemen, fullbacks, and linebackers, we got to run, or not run, we got to bike, I believe it was 10 kilometers in 22 minutes or something like that. It was something really easy, so a lot easier than running, having to run 2 miles. And so we just had to maintain that standard, and then that's when we could start gaining weight. That's when I obviously put on a decent amount of weight, and our academic standards, they didn't change, but they shifted. The classes that we took during the season, we then took 2 classes in the summertime. So now our extension at the academy, we were taking a class almost year-round, but during the season, we had lesser credit, so we could kind of focus on our bodies and the opponents that we're playing. And then to move forward into the first year that Army beat Navy in 14 years is an amazing experience. When it happened, the entire Corps of Cadets charged the field at Lincoln Financial, and it was Baltimore. I'm sorry, not Lincoln Financial. It was at Baltimore, and it's an amazing feeling to know that we were able to get over the hump. We reached where we wanted to go, but we knew that we still had many goals to achieve after that because we did not beat Air Force that year. We barely made a bowl game, so we needed to come back the next year to be able to win a Commander-in-Chief's trophy and extend the Army football name a little bit better. So it was an amazing experience being able to see the transition from pre-Monken all the way to beating Navy and then
Absolutely. One thing he just talked about, I don't know if you guys really caught how hard it is. Think about being 305, 310 pounds in December around the bowl game time, or in December about to play Army-Navy. Your PRT is like February, March, where you got to get back in the standings. So you got big linemen who are literally pushing other big linemen down there, 600-pound collision. In 3 months, they got to lose 60 to 70 pounds just so they can run a mile or a mile and a half. And guys, I've seen those big guys get down and run right past my and it is an amazing thing to see. So I take my hat off to you for being able to do that. I was a linebacker, quarterback guy. I probably shifted between 5 and 10 pounds. It was never my life to do that, but that's always amazing. Now, winning the game is another amazing thing. I think the only scary part about that is that I was a part of that 14-game winning streak. No class wants to be the class to end the streak. Now, when I graduated, we were the 14th year, so I made it out. I won 4 games in a row. As soon as I left, that guy over there broke that streak, and he made it happen for Army, which is exactly what they wanted to do, and it's so cool to see. You want to win, and you want to sing second. Singing second is literally right after the game. We have the integrity enough to get both sides together. Their team gets together, our team gets together, and we go to the sideline where the school is. And during that time, you'll sing your alma mater. If you lose, if you can only imagine, the song doesn't sound that great. It's kind of slow, kind of sad. And then right after that, you sprint to the other side, and that team comes with you, hand over heart, and you sing your song, you sing your heart out. It's an amazing, amazing time, and there's no better feeling in the world to be a part of.
Yeah, and one thing I should have added, when Army realized they had fallen behind, Navy actually helped them realize the difference in their programs. The Navy athletic director, they had a lot of meetings, and they helped bring Army back up to speed. So as you can imagine, it takes a special coach, not only football coach, but special coach to coach academy kids and fit in football with all their other demands. Meyer would have played for Coach Kenya Mataolo, who's now at San Jose State, and then Mike played for Jeff Monken. So I want both guys to kind of talk about what made those guys special that they could coach at the academies where a lot of other coaches we know that are good coaches, they wouldn't succeed at the academies.
I'll definitely start because Coach Nia Montalolo was at the academy for a very long time. And as you know, being an athlete in high school, middle school, even if you started in elementary school, it is a huge transition to be able to leave your family and go do something that you love that kind of turns into a business, because those guys on the sideline, those coaches, they're paying and they're playing and they're coaching to make money for their families. And of course, they're going to be passionate about it. That money sometimes can make coaches switch. And as you see right now, not only do players switch, you can have some coaches who might be at 15 different schools in 18 years. Coach Nia Montalolo was definitely there for the guys. He was an extremely loyal person, and he knew every single player by their name. Now, for the academies, it's a little bit different because our attrition rate is so high, because academies aren't easy. You could have almost over 120 people on that football team. So to know every person's name, normally knows their mother's name and their father's name too. When you leave high school and you join that program, you truly do feel like you're joining the family. And you don't get a chance to just go home in the middle of the week. And we got a lot of crazy summer trainings. And after you graduate for 5 years at the very least, you're going to be in the military. So to have that type of forceful backup as a coach or somebody that you know you can go to and speak to, times do get rough while you're at the academy, was a grateful thing that I got a chance to have and coach me in my team.
Meyer said something funny for the coaches knowing everyone's name. Coach Monken always had a requirements that you have to know everybody's first name, last name, hometown. During summer ball, we have a whole month together where we live at the stadium basically, and you're sitting there, you're having a conversation with your team. He's forcing players, upperclassmen, to interact with the underclassmen and vice versa, so they can know each other and know everyone. Because when the school starts, you get pulled in many different directions. You might not interact with a freshman that is a cornerback while I'm a senior on the offensive line. But during that summer ball time, that's my time to immerse with everyone. And Coach Monken really enforced that brotherhood, and he did care a lot. And for a head coach at the academy, there needs to be an understanding of academy requirements, but an understanding of how a football team is supposed to be run and how a successful team is supposed to be run. And there's a very fine line that they ride, and both coaches have really found a way to make it work, to win on Saturdays, but as well as have all of their players show up for military requirements during the summertime as well as during school.
Okay, a couple of more quick comments, and then we'll open it up for questions. I want to be sure to give Ruff McNeil a mention here. Ruff was a coach at East Carolina and played against Navy. Ruff, of course, is now at NC State as an advisor to Coach Doran. And I had him on the podcast on my website once talking about his experience and how Jimmy Ray, who's subject of one of my books, as a black coach was an inspiring story for him. And when we were talking about the Army-Navy, playing against Army and Navy, 2018, Army almost won in Oklahoma. The game went to double overtime. And in fact, if Kyler Murray wasn't Oklahoma's quarterback, Army would have won. But Ruff McNeil said before they ever played Navy and Army, because, Oklahoma, these kids are 4-star kids, 5-star. And the academy kids are 2 stars. They're all overachievers. Ruff McNeil said, this has always stuck with me. Ruff McNeil said he would tell his Oklahoma players, they're not going to be afraid of you. So I always thought that was a great quote. The other thing I want to mention, there's a lot of national stories about Larry Pickett Jr., and I had one in the News and Observer, and I take some pride in this. And Larry Jr. always said he didn't do anything that any other West Point kid wouldn't have done, or Annapolis kid. But for my story, the quote in my story, he also said, I did what my father would have done. So I want to make sure I've mentioned that. One more thing. Trey, as they were reading off your resume, both Mike and Meyer said, sounds like an Academy kid to me. So let's open it up for questions.
Sally's right behind you.
Do Army and Navy get involved with portal and name, image, and likeness type stuff?
Yeah, it does it gets pretty tricky because at the academies they do have it in writing that we're not allowed to collect money. So no collectives, no name, image, likeness type stuff. So I believe at Army 2, your first 2 years, it's kind of like a trial run. Of course, your grades still count. You still get a chance to play. But your commitment doesn't really start until that junior year. That's what we call 2 for 7 at the academy, where you actually have to sign a paper saying, I will stay. Now, if you decide to leave after that 2 years, you got to pay that scholarship back. So that junior year you decide to leave is about $275,000 for us. And the senior year is probably maybe around $325 or something like that. Because they get uniforms, clothes, books, pretty much everything. You have to pay that either back in a listing or pay that back in cash, which I do not have. So now that this has come along, it has made it a bit harder for some of the academies to be able to compete with that, because we do both know there has been a few athletes on at all of the academies who get to that sophomore year, they got a chance to play early, they're doing really well. When they get reached out to by a bigger school who actually does have the money, sometimes it might make more sense for them to actually leave, hop into the portal, and go over there. So the thing is with the coaches, they do their best to try to coach those guys up, tell them what they should and could do, and they don't actually try to hold them back. They just want them to do whatever is best for the kid, whatever is best for their family, and ensure that they'll be able to take care of themselves when they leave.
Well, thank you very much for your service. And as an Army vet, go Army, beat Navy.
Oh, sir.
One of the, I think I'm next, just aside, my daughter went to the Air Force Academy, my nephew went to the Naval Academy, and so I know your stories. Your story. My daughter told me the other day, I'm talking about sports. She's got a daughter that plays tennis. He said my daughter was a swimmer, and he said, let me tell you about being at the academy, taking 23 hours, including two courses of calculus. Is that kind of, you take calculus?
Yeah, I took 3 of them.
Well, I was 2 at the same time. But anyway, he said the sports to her, and you all, I think one of you mentioned that was my happy place. You know, you go and you get up at break of dawn, you go to the formations, and then you go to practice, and that was their happy place. And as I see both of you shaking your head. That was football can be the happy place, but always that.
Yeah, that's a very funny comment you make, because I mean I can might fail a test or a quiz. It is what it is, and then I'll go up the hill and go practice, and that's where I feel more comfortable, being able to put a helmet on. And if I am wrong, I can still run into somebody. You know, I can't really do that in class, but yeah, it certainly was a way to break away from the academy, from school, put your mind and separate it and focus on what you came to do, play football. But
that's what she said. One of the things, John Feinstein wrote a book in 1996 called Civil War. Are you familiar with that? You are. It's a year of the Army Navy preparation. They follow people playing. And I pulled my book out just to come in here today, and I ran across a copy of a sports writer that wrote for the Philadelphia Inquirer, talking about the Army-Navy game. This is what he wrote in 1996 about the Army-Navy game. No other game affects so many people, and no other game consistently serves up such extraordinary extraordinary drama and entertainment. If the final margin is no closer than a field goal, you want your money back. So, I hope you all felt the same way. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Mike and Myra, thank you.
How tricky is the midnight triple option?
Ooh, good question. So if you guys don't know, I also coach football, and I coach my son's 7U football team. And he knows a lot more than just the toss. He watches every single football game with me. We stayed up and watched the, triple, quadruple overtime Georgia Tech game. So the boy knows football. And what he's asking about right now is the midline triple option, which I know you know a lot about. It's what allows the academies to be able to really have a competitive chance against bigger schools because we have faster, quicker linemen. And everything we do is tricky. You can only run it if you're a focused individual and you really know what you're doing. So it is very tricky. From a defense point of stance, it's very, very scary because you can't have what we call eye violations. So if you get down there, you sit in your stance, there's a few things you got to do. You got your alignment. So that's exactly knowing where you're going to put your feet and where you're going to line up. Then you got your assignment. Who should I be looking at? Then you got your reads and your keys. So you're thinking you got 3 different running backs back there, and you got a quarterback as well. So that's 4 different people that can possibly get the ball. Now you got receivers on each end too. So you got to have a good eye to watch your keys. Now that old lineman, if he steps forward, it's probably going to be a run. If he steps backward, probably going to be a pass. But don't forget you got running backs going that way and that way too. So when you get to that midline, you got the biggest guy, that big back in the back, and that quarterback fakes it to him. Then he runs to the right like he's going to toss the ball, but instead he backs up to throw the ball, and you better have your eyes in the right place. So it's a tricky thing, and I do hope you get a chance to play against it so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Good question.
You have time for another question? I was going to say, if Mike could, the NIL question is a good one because Coach Jeff Monken always talked about who would be better to represent the Army, your product, than an Army or Navy guy. They should be eligible for NIL, and they're not. And as a consequence, I don't know if this has happened at Navy, but I know it's happened at Army. They're losing guys that are chasing the NIL money. So, Mike, if you could talk about that.
There's been a couple guys that have left prior to their junior year. They were able to get some success the first 2 years, like Meyer said, and some opportunities opened up for them. But a big thing that Coach Monken has come out to communicate to the public is that it's all about the intangibles in the man that you are coaching, and he really focuses on if you are really honing in your skills as a coach and as a player and as a person, that will kind of figure itself out throughout the long run. More guys will end up staying at West Point and the Naval Academy and Air Force because they want to be a part of something that's a little bit larger instead of just running and grabbing the first dollar amount that you see. But it's an era that's I'm seeing on the outside. So I wish I was in the locker room to be able to give a little bit more understanding to everything, but Coach Monken really focuses on the man and not the dollar.
I've got one last question for you here. Mr. Meyer, you ever still hear the name Roger Staubach in the Howard Hall?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Roger Staubach, and I put his helmet actually in my children's book as well because he's always going to be a legend. There's something we talk about traditions never graduate and legends never die. He's got a chance to come into the locker room, and I got a chance to see him and shake his hand and show my son some of his plays. And he's just an amazing guy, and what he did while he was at the academy was also amazing. We got to see Robinson. He's come into the locker room a couple times. He's still tall. If you other guys ever won, he's still very, very tall. But yes, Staubach will never go away. Legends never die.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
One last comment. Let Larry Jr. know he's on the clock to come visit us.
If I could respond to what he said earlier about what my son said that he would do what my dad would do. You guys have never met my wife either. The most amazing person and the reason he is who he is. Of course, I had a little bit to do with it, but you guys will hear me, right? Yeah. The reason who LJ is who he is, I have a little bit to do with it, but most of it is this one right here.
So I do love that you said that because I didn't understand it as a kid about how much who you marry matters. The greatest and most coolest thing that I got from the Academy was, yes, a diploma, but I met my wife while I was there. And she is, I'm going to get emotional, she is everything to me. So when I watched your story and I watched what you guys did, and having my son see you and then see you two come up there together, it meant a lot to me too. So I do appreciate it. I appreciate you saying.
Also, I married a 1-year-old son now too. So,
congratulations.
Yeah, I'm admired for my teachers football too.
I got you, brother. I got 4 boys, 1 girl. I got you back.
Okay, Mike and Myra, thank you so much for coming today. Spending time with us, sharing your story. Thank you.
That was pretty cool. Thanks, Tom. You guys got a good thing going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see you again next year?
Yeah, we got to get numbers after this.
Yeah, no. All right, we got to get Trey over to the academy. He must.
Yeah.
We got to do a visit.
Yeah. Well, I want to get some pictures with you with Trey, so you can mention it. They're going to bring Trey up here. John.
No. So my best friend Bad, he started at Georgia Tech. So watching some of the games, or watching somebody he knew, watching YouTube, and then we're in Georgia now.
Yeah.
Smart kid, just yeah.
Ooh, perfect. Thank you. No. I do not. It's a great running back.
Oh, yeah.
Pete Dawkins comes by every now and then. We have
And man, you got to do a visit at the academy, man. You got to get over to the Navy and do a visit out there, bro. I'm trying to tell you, it's beautiful.
I need to figure out that diet plan, man. 230, 300 to 230. Like, all right.
I was in there. All right.
You get us the photo.
I thought. Oh gosh, I don't see in the middle. Oh gosh,
He had to go back to work, so are we off symmetry? Does she need to go?